ambit of the law. Equality includes the full and equal enjoyment of all rights and fundamental freedoms. Women and men have the right to equal treatment, including the right to equal opportunities in political, economic, cultural, and social spheres. So this really is very strong provisions in the Constitution. And more importantly, in Article 27(4), it says the state shall not discriminate directly or indirectly against any person on any ground, including race, sex, pregnancy, marital status, health status, ethnic or social origin, color, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture, dress, language, or birth. So here already the state is recognizing that perhaps in the past we have been discriminating against persons either directly or indirectly. And it clearly comes out to state that no longer can people be discriminated just because of how they dress, just because of their very important clause or article in the Constitution. Now moving forward, still within Article 27, Article 27(5) says a person shall not discriminate to that section. And Article 27(6) says to give full effect to the realization of rights guaranteed under Article 27, the state shall take legislative and other measures, including affirmative action programs and policies designed to redress any disadvantage suffered by individuals or groups based on past discrimination. So what this is basically saying in simple language is that now there is a responsibility on the government to make sure that whether it's through policy, legislation, and other measures, it addresses issues of affirmative action. So that those persons who have been discriminated in the past, be it persons who have been persons with disabilities, be it the youth, be it children, can now be fully protected by the state. And the state actually has to go a step further to ensure that it has legislation and other measures to address this historical discrimination that may have occurred. Now, with regards to Article 27(8), it states that the state shall take legislative and other measures to implement the principle that no more than 2/3 of members of elective or appointive bodies shall be of the same gender. Basically, this means that if we're having any elective body, a body, be it a constitutional body, be it, for instance, the judiciary, steps have to be taken to ensure that no more than 2/3 are of either gender. So if you have 1/3 men, 2/3 have to be women. You cannot have the entire body being from only one gender, for instance, being only women or being only men. Now, some of those appointed bodies that are being referred to in Article 27(8) include cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, the judiciary, the Judicial Service Commission, and the Public Service Commission. These are some of those appointed bodies whereby the state will have to ensure that no more than 2/3 of either gender are represented in these bodies. Now, just looking broadly also with regards to the public service, Article 232(1) states that the values and principles of public service include affording adequate and equal opportunities for appointment, training, and advancement at all levels of the public office for both men and women, members of ethnic groups, persons with disabilities. So basically, even within the public service, the Constitution takes recognition that we have to address some of those past discrimination. And therefore, when it comes to promotions, when it comes to training, when it comes to even looking where to place persons, the public service has to ensure that it addresses issues of equality and equal opportunity for both men and women, members of all ethnic groups, and persons with disabilities. So that is a very heavy responsibility that the Public Service Commission has to undertake. With regards to political positions, Article 28 provides for gender balance, stating that not more than 2/3 of members of elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. So with our new parliament, we have to ensure that not more than 2/3 are men or not more than 2/3 are women, to ensure that as a country, we're really moving forward with the spirit of inclusivity. Now, and also it talks very clearly about fair representation of persons with disabilities, so that then we can address the past discrimination against persons with disability. Now, Article 100 states that Parliament shall enact legislation to promote the representation in Parliament of women, persons with disability, youth, ethnic or other minorities, and marginalized communities. So there, very clearly, our Parliament will be a new look. It will have a new look as opposed to what it has been in the past, because we will have good representation of women, persons with disability, youth, ethnic and other minorities, and marginalized communities. Therefore, again, the spirit of inclusivity, the spirit of full participation of the entire country runs through in the Constitution. Now, when it comes to issues around addressing some of those historical discrimination that, for instance, women have faced around land, Article 60 deals with that in terms of ensuring that in Kenya now women will no longer, there will be elimination of gender discrimination when it comes to property and land. Therefore, even when it comes to how we administer property and land in this country, we have to make sure that we put in place laws that remove the discrimination that has been there in the past. And one of the key functions is of this commission is to promote gender equality and equity, and also to facilitate gender mainstreaming. And that's important for us to realize that this is the key institution that has that mandate to carry out that work. Now, just moving back to Article 21, I think it's important to mention that all state organs and all public officers have the duty to address the needs of vulnerable groups within society, including women, older members of society, persons with disabilities, children, youth, members of minority or marginalized communities, and members of particular ethnic, religious, or cultural communities. So already, state organs and public officers have to ensure that they are dealing with specific needs of persons who in the past have been discriminated against, and this includes minority and marginalized communities. Now, just to wind up, I think probably I'll use this opportunity to clarify some of the work that FIDA has been doing, especially with the case of the Supreme Court, even though it's before the court. But the main thrust of our contention with the Supreme Court and the nominations that were made was that the Judicial Service Commission did not recognize Article 27.8, because Article 27.8, like I said earlier, provides that for all elective and appointive bodies, not more than 2/3 of either gender will be represented. And we see with the nominations that they made, they actually went over and above the 2/3 principle. And I thought I'll just use this opportunity to clarify that, because I think perhaps people have not understood where FIDA as an institution has been coming from with regards to that case. So basically that is around affirmative action in the Constitution. As you can see, the Constitution recognizes past discrimination that has occurred not only for women, but also for persons with disability, also for minorities and marginalized groups. And therefore, even as a country, we need to start changing our thinking and our perception around these other marginalized groups who have been discriminated in the past, and move forward with the spirit of inclusivity, move forward with the spirit of equity, because if one section of the community or the country is advancing and the others are being left behind, then we cannot really have full development as a country. So if we move forward in that spirit, we believe that Kenya will be a better place, and as a country we'll be able to move forward and be competitive a lot more, even in the global village. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was, let's put our hands together. Thank you so much, Grace, for taking us through the affirmative action. I can see we have a visitor. Maybe you can take this opportunity and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're coming from.
My name is Parveen Adam. I'm here in capacity of a friend of Farah Manzoor, but I work for a radio station here, an ex-teacher. presenter with E. Stephen. I host